riding down Highway 61. Sides of the roads all lined with fields, nothing but sunset in the windshield. Feel it as soon as I ride into town. This is where I go to slow down. Miles and miles of soybeans and corn. I'm in the place where the blues was born. About a mile from the big muddy river, a place I'll always remember. A cabin on the lake and a fishing pole. Forever here I'll rest my soul. I can feel my worries drift away from being out in the sun all day. No matter where in the world I go, I'll always find home on the banks of that oxbow.
All right, guys. Hey, Crappie Connection here, checking in down here at Tupelo, Mississippi, down here at the private John Allen Fishery Hatch, right, Brad?
National Fish
National, yeah. So we just did a walkthrough. I don't know if y'all got to see the video yet or not, but we did a full walkthrough of hatching, people walking in ponds, bringing out eggs. It's pretty extraordinary, ain't it?
Oh, they will learn a lot in a short amount of time. Listen to that.
For sure. Vince Haygood, everybody. And if you're wondering what the bright lights are doing down here, now you've loved to night fish, correct?
That's correct.
All right, so this episode right here is going to be a night fishing episode. He does a lot with the hatchery here with Mark, right?
Yeah, Mark.
With Mark, and he's going to go over 101 night fishing, what he uses, a little bit of
how to get into it.
Yep, how to get into it, and some new style bait we ran across today.
Yeah, very unique bait coming.
So again, Vince, what town is it? I can't pronounce it.
I'm from Pontotoc, Mississippi.
Pontotoc. Did I say that right that time?
Close enough for you.
Pontotoc. He's from Mississippi, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Anyway, Vince, so what made you get into night fishing?
Well, the night fishing came on me basically as the temperatures raised up July and August. I decided, hey, instead of going out and sweating all day, try it at night. Crowds will be, dispersed a good bit. Have your choice picks on the spots that you want to fish. With no pressure of somebody sitting back waiting on you to move for them to move in on you. And it's worked out great. Basically, you get the whole lake to yourself a lot of nights, and
Cooler.
Yeah, a lot cooler.
Yeah, no sunburn, that's for sure.
All right.
So how many years have you first started, how many years in your lifetime have you been night fishing?
I started about 5.5, 6 years ago. Gotten deeper and deeper into it here in the last 2 or 3 years, pretty serious. And it's, it's grown, and I'm seeing a few more people out on the water at night.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable. You ain't got to rush.
Now, I've tried it once in my lifetime, and I caught like 1 or 2 crappie, and I fished all night long. So I'm really zoned in, tuned in of what I was doing wrong. I could question you if there's any wrong to night fishing.
It's still
called fishing for a reason. Still,
yeah, it's hit and miss. No jokes, no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's still hit and miss. You got to know your lake. You got to know your structure. Basically fish the same spots that you fish during the day, and it's the same old. These fish are feeding, these aren't. And if they're not feeding, move on to the next pile and try them.
I was telling Brad on the way over here. I fished on a lake up in Illinois, and I started from in the afternoon, and I went all the way through the night and all the way in the morning. 2 freaking fish. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed is, what I was telling him, is that as soon as it got dark, every fish was off structure. They was off roaming in the middle of the lake all night long.
No man's land, yeah.
I'm talking about, I set the big lights out that you got right there.
Yeah.
I've seen some minnows come up, done all I could, and then as soon as 15 minutes come into daylight, back on structure.
back on structure.
Did you experience the same thing?
I have. They definitely seem like they're apt to move off the structure, shortly after dark. It's like you said, free roaming, and basically you just got to be in the general area, and draw the bait to attract the fish. And I've heard this numerous times and watched, no telling how many, different comments, on these different websites about people, fishing in the shadows of the lights, and it brings on a number of questions to me, because full moon nights fishing, or no moon, I personally, I just go when I can and enjoy it.
Like any other fishing.
That's it, yeah. And I make the best of what I can. You struggle through it and you adapt to it and figure out what's working and what's not.
Are you spider rigging a lot? Are you slip bob? Or
most of the time,
jigs?
I'll be honest with you. Most of the time, live bait of some sort. Whether it be minnow, some of my other.
Yeah, we'll get that in a minute. We'll save that great for last.
The big shocker.
Okay. Well, I try to use natural.
Yeah.
And and it just seems to work better. But to answer your question, I'll rig some poles with jigs. Say tip with a crappie nibble, jig with a minnow, or plain hook and minnow, and hey, just see what's hitting the best.
All right, so it's kind of since I sucked that first night. So what would anybody that's tuning in and wanting to try it out, and next time for me, start out in the hot summertime, I'm assuming. Hot summertime. And what would you focus on at night? Would you focus on structure? From what I experienced, of them not being on structure,
I would actually back off the structure a little bit. When I say a little bit, 10, 15 feet max. I would actually scan that area, and I'm not beyond moving if the fish aren't biting. Say the fish are there, if they're there, you see them there on your electronics.
How long do you give them?
Normally, with the lights, after it gets dark, give the fish 20, 30 minutes to draw your bait fish in. You get a good school of bait fish going, then look at your electronics if you're capable of doing that, and see what's coming to the bait. Fish on the outsides of it. With the electronics we've got nowadays, you sit there and you say, well, the fish are holding at 12 feet, so I'm going to 12 feet. Takes all the guesswork out of it.
Right.
It's like I say. We've all pulled up on a pile and sit there and know it's loaded, but they wouldn't touch anything you had in the boat.
Oh yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
And I'll pull up and move to another spot, and try to find some feeding fish, because they're just like us. They've got to eat at some point in time. And going back to the time frame that you fished, you may not just hit the right pile, or right.
I was all over. I went through a whole full tank of gas. I couldn't put it together whatsoever.
Really? Well, we all struggle. I've done it. I'm not. It's not beyond me. I have struggled many times on it, but just keep hammering at it. And
when you place these lights off, say I see you got two down here below us. You'll have two lights in your boat, and you'll set them off. How far from your boat?
Usually, the length of the poles that we've got here, roughly around 6 feet from the boat. I let them hang out. I actually hang them in the in a rod holder.
Yeah.
Let it hang out.
Like Luke
I knew that was coming.
I did too.
Yeah.
But roughly 6 feet away from the boat, and what you'll get, you just get the circling, the bait attracted to it. And like I say, there's pros and cons in the LEDs and the fluorescence. I use the fluorescence because they're not as bright, and that's just my personal preference.
Right.
I've got buddies that use the LEDs, and they catch fish too. And I just happen to like the LEDs due to the fact they've worked best for me.
Right.
And
probably no battery usage either, Harley.
Very, very little.
Right.
You can go numerous nights.
Do them float right on top of the water, or they kind of submerge like 3 or 4 foot? Because that one that we was fishing with, it was like 3 or 4 foot, or maybe a couple foot underneath the water surface.
These particular lights that I use, you can put slack in your cable, and unless you weight them more, they're going to float roughly 3 to 4 inches below water.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got I use the 2 foot version. They make a 4 foot version, but I use the 2 foots, and they'll float 3 or 4 inches below the water.
I got you. I noticed too when we was, or the guy I was fishing with, when we was kind of putting 2 and 2 together. Now you don't want to actually fish right on the light. You want to have that shadow where they can attack.
They're a predator.
Right.
I concentrate on the dark ring on the on the edge, on the outer edge of it. Now I will fish directly under these lights. It seems to me like
I never thought about the underneath part.
Yeah. And I'll fish directly under, at times, and I always set 3 or 4 extra poles in the rod holders. And I'll have them at different areas of the ring of lights.
So you'll pull up to, say, a brush pile that you've got marked.
Mm-hmm.
It's got fish sitting on there. You'll anchor down your boat.
That's correct.
Put out your rod holders. Put out the lights in the rod holders.
That's correct.
6 to 8 feet. Will you have one light on the left and one on the right?
That's correct. I do. I put one on the left and one on the right, just kind of 45 off the front, front of the boat.
Right.
And that way I can keep everything kind of in front of me, and and keep an eye on everything, and it works great doing it that way.
So you pretty much let them cook, I guess is a terminology. Yeah.
Primed up.
Yeah. Load up.
Yeah. But that's, you let your minnows get going. And
do you experience what I see on YouTube and social media where they're like freaking swirling? Do you experience that?
I've seen that.
All right, play it. Let me see it. See, I didn't experience
looks
like
a train around it.
Surely you'll be able to see that real quick. Just like what everybody experiences or sees if you Google night fishing and all that. See, I didn't experience nothing like that. Now I see there was minnows. There was minnows and shad come up, but it wasn't nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a typical getting started. That's while I'm sitting there rigging my poles. The 20 or 30 minutes.
I know, right?
Hey, I keep a 6 foot dip net in the boat. You'll never run out of bait when you're night fishing.
No doubt.
That.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Do you pay attention when you decide, all right, I'm ready to start night fishing for the year? Do you pay attention to what lake and what clarity you start out at? I mean, you don't go night fishing like a Muddy Grenada type water or anything in the springtime, do you?
Fish eat there. I don't know why not.
I don't know.
It just depends on which lake I want to fish. But now, to answer your question, it doesn't bother me as far as the clarity of the water. Basically, it's just, hey, where have I got time to go? So, and whatever I feel comfortable getting on, what lake I feel comfortable getting on at night, I go, because you take your darkest nights. We've all gotten caught out there, late in the evenings, but dude, it's fun navigating at night. I run my trails on my,
right.
I use my electronics.
Yeah.
And you still can't see, everything. I'm overprotective at night. I'm gonna when I leave, the ramp, I'm gonna put my life jacket on, and I've carried somebody with me most of the times at night. Where in daytime,
Yeah.
I go by myself all the time, but night's just a different animal to me as far as safety goes, and I try to, stay on the safe side.
Right. Definitely. Got a question about that school of shad we just seen there. Have you ever noticed or picked up, you see those bait fish acting differently? As far as they're spinning slower, then all of a sudden they'll start spinning faster. Does that usually mean the predators are coming in at that point, or?
Actually, the ones right on top don't ever change unless the crappie are feeding super shallow. And we fish different depths, but like I say, now with the live scope and stuff that we have, I can sit there and tell, hey, they're coming in, trying to feed at 8 feet or 7 feet or whatever, and I can just dial right in on them,
I can imagine this perspective on live scope, that would be the key live fishing there. That would be.
It will do it.
Watch out, he's coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's stalking up.
You see him diving in with the light?
With the live scope and the forward view, I have not used my perspective view just yet on the night fishing.
No, I'm talking about with your naked eye.
No.
Yeah, so they don't come up that close to the light?
I have not been seeing them that close.
I was curious.
You know, I've got a light.
You got a light?
Yeah, at my cabin, and we've tried it off the pier, and like I said, you know, 30 minutes to an hour, you'll start seeing the bait fish come in, and we've fished it, and very little success.
Limited success. That's right.
And if you know, I didn't put the thought process of going where I would fish during the daytime and trying it.
Well, basically, we all know. The fish aren't going to move that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to hang out in where in their comfort zone, and their food is the food source, and a lot of times they're going to follow those shad around the lake.
Yeah.
You know, we've all seen that, and it's a matter of time on the water, keeping up with where the fish are hanging out, basically, and that's what I try to do. Spend a lot of time, you know, keeping up with what area of the lake that they're hanging out in.
Right.
And we've got our seasonal changes, you know, as far as hot summer, hey, they're going to try to go deep.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I concentrate on, you know, 25, 35 foot, you know, places to fish.
If you're fishing that 25 foot, and normally you're catching them, say, 18 foot deep in 25 foot of water, will they typically still be that deep at nighttime catching them, or will they move up?
They'll move up a tad, but you know, a lot of times your better fish are going to hang back even more. And which with the live scope, you know, in our interpretation of it, you know, your 10, 11 inch fish, you know, they're not going to look that big. And then you look at the footballs size,
Right.
and you're like, hey, that's the one I'm after, you know.
Yeah.
So you target it basically, and you know, try to basically bite like you're single poling. You can do it at night.
Let's pick up one of these lights. I'll let you pick it up and tell us about, you know, what brand light is this, and where can somebody find it at? I can hold that for you if you need to. Watch out.
Luke Skywalker's came in. This is a Crappie at night light by Mr. Jack Smith. Is who I got this from, out of Florida. He's a guide down on St. John's River. Full-time guide, been guiding for about 20 years.
Using
these, and he started making them, you know, after, you know, trial and error, figuring out what works good, and you know, and I know that's a different area for us. I actually had Mr. Jack, I bought these, and I ended up talking Mr. Jack into coming up to Tupelo and meeting me, and I spent a good bit of time with him, you know, picking his brain, you know, trying to figure out, you know, hey, what can I, you know, use for our area. And after a couple of days of, you know, of some pretty serious talks, we started catching fish. And I mean, it's just took
together. He stayed up here and fished with you.
No. He and I, he schooled me basically on what tactics I needed to use.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
basically the tactics. But the weather didn't work out for us to fish while he was here. He wasn't here but a couple of days. But he led me, you know, I guess you'd say, headed me in the right direction. And I've just took what he, you know, took his knowledge, his 20 years of knowledge, and you know, went to using it, I guess you would say.
How much does them run retail?
You've asked me a question and I can't remember.
Like under 100?
These here, if I'm gonna be lying, and Mr. Jack, I don't want to tell wrong on Mr. Jack.
Where would they find them at then?
On Crappie at Night.
Crappie at night.
Yeah. They've got there's a website on here, crappieatnight.com. And I actually got a telephone number and everything on here.
What does that long PVC pipe do? Is that how far you
puts it in the
separate the
rod
lines?
holder.
I put that in my rod holder and push it. And that way it sits
it
out
floats
away from
down.
my boat.
Okay. Put that in your rod holder.
Yeah, I just stick the PVC pipe in the rod holder and let it hang. Let it hang out that far away from the boat. A lot of people a lot of people drop them right over the side of the boat. The reason I move them away from the boat is for noise.
Yeah.
You know, I can see the ring better. I actually like the video, you know, of the minnows that showed.
You know, I was thinking about kids. I would think this would be a really cool way to take kids, not maybe a lot of kids, but take your kid out, and it's a little bit cooler at night. They get tired, they can take them a little nap, but you imagine how entertaining, you know, just watching these shad.
Yeah.
And their hands out on the side with a dip net trying to get your bait.
You know what
I was gonna say they'd probably keep the water stirred up trying to catch, you know, the minnows and everything, because it is entertaining. to see the minnows start and really start a good, you know.
One thing I noticed at Lake Washington, and I've never seen this bait during the daytime, and I don't know probably the scientific name would be, but it looks like a little cigar minnow, and it's clear.
Yeah.
I don't have no idea. I've never seen them during the daytime.
It's clear cigar minnow.
I do not know the name of it, like I said, but that's what I would describe it. It's the shape as a cigar almost, and they're clear.
I bet that's got you more tuned in, more dialed in of what bait to put out there. It's when you're seeing the bait.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're looking at the profile. You're looking at everything.
Well, this is the size they're eating.
The size, that's what I go for. And like I say, hey, I carry a 6 or 8 foot dip net in the boat, minnow net. I'll reach over and catch some, drop them in the in the bait cooler, and turn right around and put them on
You
the
ever
hook.
seen
and
that
use
minnow I'm talking about?
I don't.
The cigar, clear minnow cigar.
Maybe I've discovered something that I didn't
Yeah.
I mean, but
catch us a few of them.
well, I did catch a few because
When did you see them?
It's probably been 3 or 4 years ago when we would get out there at night and just
Oh, at night.
with the lights. I mean, I'm sure Hunter can testify to that, but
Google that real quick.
yeah.
Right? See if you can Google that.
he's seen it as well.
You seen it? You seen them?
With my own 2 eyes.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of fish
You know,
it
I
is.
think
We will find out.
Yeah.
Mark, when he comes on the show,
Yeah, there you go.
we will ask Mark
Speaking
that.
of Mark, now y'all work together. He works at the Hatchery here, and then y'all work together to. What kind of projects that I've done? We done talked about it before we started getting everything lined up here. Tell us deep, kind of what y'all work together with.
What I do for Mark and some of the other guys around, I go around. They call me and wanting to know what kind of size. Like with Mark, what kind of size? I want you to go out and fish this lake and see.
So you're a soldier. He put you on a mission.
That's it. I do the work, send the pictures and the measurements and stuff, and just basically let him see what's there. Because we have people come up and they say, "Hey, there's no fish in this lake," and I guess I get sent out to try to find the fish.
Fished out. It's fished out.
Fish stalker. But I get to go out and fish the lakes, and I get to see a bunch of different lakes, just and learn a bunch of lakes. I go outside, scan them, find the structures, set up on them, fish them, and then like I say, take pictures and send them to them.
And then what else? Tell us about the secret stuff you got going on. Y'all got a couple ponds you're experiencing. Area 51.
Area 51 has been, I guess you'd say, ran through the trials, and it's working pretty good. And it's
Long story short, y'all messing with a few hybrid crappies, right?
we are. Mark is basically he's got some good growth rates on some hybrids, and
That's awesome that y'all working together to experience the numbers and the size and the growth rate and all that. That's pretty cool.
it's amazing at what some of the fish are doing. And I mean, and more people are going to learn about it. As time goes on, the fish are growing great, and it takes a lot of time and money and effort to put in it, but it's working great.
Yeah, Mark told me earlier that a 12-inch fish was 18 months old.
Can you believe that? It's freaking crazy.
They've got the groceries.
Yeah,
Got the groceries.
but that would be a future deal for sure with Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool. So you want to?
Yeah, I want to. Vince and I have been talking about coming on the show, and one of the things that he's going to just throw it out there, I guess is a good term, is a bait he's used that I've never even thought of. And I mean, I've fished tournaments for 10 plus years, and pretty much if you could tell me I could catch a crappie off a piece of bacon, it's probably been on my hook.
I agree.
But this one I hadn't tried before. I never thought about before.
Well, I want to tell the story behind it before I do
Yeah,
it.
great.
I've started raising my own minnows, and of a particular kind, unmentioned, Area 51. And in the process of catching in the traps, I started catching a good many of these. And I said, hey, I'm from Mississippi, I'm going to try this. So I started carrying them. And
I can't get over it.
I had a little bit of trouble the first 2 times I hooked on. I was trying to figure out, what do I got to do to hook these on, make it work right? So actually, I lost the first 2 fish that I got a nibble, a bite on. So I backed up and punted. I said, well, strike 3, here we go. And I figured out how to hook them. And on live scope, it's amazing what they look like.
They just go crazy.
Game changer.
They go wild.
They go wild on there.
And you can drop those dudes down. I was dropping down on brush piles catching fish, and people riding by, and I'm kind of like, hey, I got this figured out, and it works. I had great luck with it.
I like when somebody says it works.
It does.
Because I'm telling you, I will try it this week.
Oh yeah.
I never had tried it, and it just freaked me out that it worked so good, And I said, well,
it makes sense.
I didn't have anything to lose, so I tried it.
I don't know how many people is going to go out and try to conquer this after they hear it.
Yeah. Well,
I don't even want you to say it. I want you to grab one and show them.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
And sit down and get ready.
I think I'm more excited probably people watching when they hear it. To see this. I've never thought of it.
I never thought of it.
Well, I was like, what? No way.
No way.
I can't believe I'm
this one
showing
live?
this. Yeah, it's live.
Yeah. He ready to go fishing?
Hold it up to the camera.
There it is.
Y'all know what that is? Tell them what it is.
This is a tadpole.
Freaking tadpole.
This is a tadpole, and I was catching these things, in my minnow traps.
Yeah.
And next thing you know,
probably hardy too.
Oh yeah, they're actually tougher than they're stouter than the minnows. But I actually started out hooking these things up high right here in the back because I didn't want to kill them.
Yeah.
And after a couple of trial and errors, I figured out, hey, let's hook this dude right here. Back.
Right at what do you call that? The belly, I guess?
I would say in the belly and the tail area. But I hook that dude right there, and you talking about cut up sideways over a brush pile.
Oh, wow.
I mean, just go nuts in the
So you're
water.
saying that's money?
That's money. It works. I can't believe it worked as good as it did.
We will have them this week.
I'm going to have my kids in ditches all down Mississippi County, Missouri. What are they doing over there? I'm going to try to catch some tadpoles and fish.
I mean, I actually tried this I've tried this a couple of times and it's worked great. And basically, you see he's still alive here.
Oh, yeah.
But I've gotten more and more into it. And, now I've gotten to where I catch 200 or 300 of them at a time. And basically, I'm going to be using them. I'm keeping them in my minnow vats with my minnows.
I think it's awesome.
So tell the viewers how much. What have you seen on live scope versus what you drop down in there? Like, have you like really tested? Like, okay, I know these fish right here on this brush pile or wherever you're fishing, they're not really hitting.
Yeah.
Then you put that on. Then you drop it down in there. Is it instant?
It's daylight and dark difference.
Wow.
For some reason, my deal with it is, and the reason I tried this was because I wanted to be able to pull up to the lake and say, hey, I'm the only redneck out here that's got tadpoles.
Yeah.
Everybody else has stopped by the bait shop and bought the regular minnows, or they brought their jigs and their crappie nibbles. And I'm pulling up and I'm like, yeah, go fish that pile. I'll fish it right behind you and it won't scare me a bit,
Huh.
And, you pull up there,
They can't catch your fish.
well,
Yeah.
I just like to try. I like to be the only one on the lake with something different, and I try that.
That's
and
different.
I was telling Brad, it's just like with my jigs. I got a guy out of Louisiana that ties my jigs.
Give him a shout out.
Johnny Wager, LBJ Jigs. The guy's great. Does a lot of hand painting. He's hooked me up. He actually wasn't tying the smaller jigs that I use on the clear lakes. Got him started doing that, and he does a fantastic job. But I'll use nibbles, but I kind of lean towards the live bait stuff.
Yeah.
Year round. We've got
Pressured fish too. I mean.
That's correct. The high pressure fish. Hey, you show them a tadpole.
I can guarantee you, I'm showing them.
How are we gonna go?
How do you catch them?
Tell us.
I catch them in a regular minnow trap with dog food and bread. Just basically just like you catch the minnows. Just
I mean, I'm not no biologist or scientist or anything, but I mean, can you only catch these during a certain time of year?
Hey,
as if you can hear bullfrogs, I'm sure you can catch tadpoles. I'm no frog biologist, but
I'm not either, and I mean,
Yeah.
they've been real. I guess you'd say I've started seeing them a lot through the warmer months. So I'm gonna say, it's a summer, thing. We'd have to quiz the biologist on all this, but I've been catching them now actually for about a month and a half. And it seems like, and you leave them in the vat too long, you'll go see them the legs. I mean, they're going to
crawl out,
mature out. Yeah. And hey, while they're available, as a food source,
Absolutely.
I'm using it.
What size hook are you using on them? You got two different hooks. Why do you got two different hooks?
Certain days, the fish act, finicky,
Correct.
pressured. I go with a small number 4 hook, basically to hide my hook. On the days when it doesn't matter, unpressured fish, I'll use a bigger hook. But basically, I'm hiding the hook using the smaller hook. And I like to hide, I want it to look as natural as can be.
Have you ever spider-rooed with tadpoles?
I hadn't, I'm wanting to, bad.
Yeah, that's just.
I have not. I've single pole with the tadpoles
So,
right
yeah.
now. Live scope, single pole.
At night only, or are you doing that during
I've
the day
done it
too?
day and night. Day and night.
Ooh, I'm telling you, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Well, where I've been fishing, my particular situation, it has worked. It's worked great. I hope it works great for everybody that tries it. Hey, it's a new.
How many different lakes have you tried it on?
I've actually only tried the tadpoles on 2 different lakes.
Same game changer.
Yes, sir.
What's the biggest one you caught off of them?
Off the tadpole, 2 1/4 pounds so far.
How tough are those tadpoles? You can catch 1 or 2 fish, or
I'm finding that usually I lose, between your flop of your fish in the line,
one throws it off.
it'll throw it off most of the time. Either that or they're going to swallow it all the way down. You're going to basically kill it, trying to get the hook out. But they're, as
Will
far
they live on that hook a long time?
Yeah. Seem to be lasting. But really, you don't know because you catch a fish most of the time before they die. But
Yeah.
time-wise, they're lasting as long as a normal minnow would.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the fish are going to come up and peck, and not commit to the bite. It's just like they want to beat the bait up before they take it.
Right.
But they're hardy as everything. In the like right here in the cooler, they seem to do better than the minnows
Yeah.
as far
I
as
can believe
lasting.
that.
Yeah, probably easier to keep alive, most definite.
Well, that's cool. I really appreciate you disclosing the tadpole secret.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about secret.
It's been
But
a secret
I'm
to
from
me.
Missouri. Y'all from Mississippi. He ain't heard of it. I ain't heard of it. I ain't heard of it at all.
We've
Hey.
caught them. I've bought bait at bait shops and found a couple. Them swimming in my vat or what have you.
Yeah.
And I cannot ever remember hooking one.
Hook that dude on and
I
try
will.
it. And watch them on live scope.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they do.
I was thinking about kind of trying to think of everything and not fishing. Is there a certain type of fishing line you like to use at night?
Me personally, I use it day or night, which I use actually use a braid with a fluorocarbon leader. Basically just 6 foot fluorocarbon, 100% fluorocarbon leader. I have no problem.
So you don't use none of that high vis?
No.
Have you tried? Does it light up when you have a light on?
No, I don't need any of that, to be honest
Gotcha.
with you. Because on the front of my boat, I've got a couple of lights shining, LED lights shining across the tops of my poles, and I can see, I'm watching rod tip action and line movement. Because a lot of times, if they're swim sideways with your line, you can see that, or, bend the pole and just pick up on it and get them.
I got you.
Not a lot of difference in daytime and nighttime as far as just being able to see what you're trying to work with.
Brad?
Well, number one, just appreciate your time. You coming out here. I mean,
No problem.
I'm looking forward to doing some of this. I'm gonna do some night fishing now, and I'm gonna do some tadpole
Yeah,
fishing.
we're just going to take yours, okay? We're going to take yours. We're going to throw some water in a Walmart sack, and we're going on with it.
Hey, stop by the house and I'll give you all you want.
How far you live from here?
Roughly 20 miles, something like that. But I've enjoyed it. I appreciate you guys very much.
Is there any other tips we might have missed that we don't know and we can't pull it out of you unless it just pops up in your head? Any tips to anybody getting out there at night for the first time? Any basics to it?
Basically, just be safe. I mean, the safety is number one to me. Enjoy it. You hear a lot of people worried about insects.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Nothing secret that you use to keep the mosquitoes off of you or anything?
Nothing secretive about that. I mean, just your normal everyday stuff. I do use dryer sheets.
I've heard of that.
I'll rub down with the dryer sheets. I mean, nothing serious though. I mean, it's just, hey, put on a long sleeve. It's
Buffalo gnats, bro.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Nothing secretive about that.
Amber romance as far as the buffalo gnats. I can tell you. Oh, one thing I do want to mention to our listeners, we're growing. We appreciate everybody's support, but one thing we need everybody to do is help us with is keep on subscribing. Subscribe to whatever platform you're on, and help spread this sport and subscribe to our podcast. And appreciate Vince. Looking forward to talking to you more in the future and fishing maybe one day.
Yeah. Take us on a guide trip at night with your tadpoles.
We'll do it. We'll flat do it. Sounds great.
All right, another special thanks to John Allen Hatchery for letting us come in here, open us up, gave us a tour, all that good stuff. But like Brad said, follow what Brad said. Other than that, I'm Justin Berry.
Brad Chappell here.
And
Vince Haygood.
Vince Haygood. See y'all.
Holla.
About a mile from Big Muddy River, a place I'll always remember. Cabin on the lake and a fishing pole. Forever here I'll rest my soul. I can feel my worries drift away.